Dear students, in this class we are going to learn about the meaning of electrification and different ways of electrification. Along with that, we are going to discuss the special properties of the charges. What is electrification? We came to know that a body can be made to acquire the charges. A charged body can be created. So, the process of making a body to acquire the charges is called as the electrification. See, very simple. The process of making a body to acquire the charges is called as the electrification. The electrification process is simple. There are three different ways of electrification. One is electrification by the method of friction. Second one is the electrification by the method of conduction. And the third one is electrification by the method of induction. Now, let us understand what do you mean by the electrification by the method of friction. See, the electrification by friction is very simple. As we know that whenever one object rubs or makes the contact with another object and moves on its surface, then there will be creation of friction between the two objects or two bodies. So very simple. Here also we are making one body to move in contact with another body. So this is done by rubbing one object in contact with the other object, isn't it? Very simple. See, suppose I take two objects. You can take simply the human hair and plastic. Human hair and plastic. See, or you can take animal fur and plastic. Okay, so assume that animal fur is there. And there is one plastic rod, or even you can consider the comb. Now, if this plastic is rubbed on the surface of the fur, okay, if the plastic is rubbed with the surface of the fur, then the charges will be created on the surface of both plastic as well as the fur. Okay. Now, what kind of charges will be created on the fur and what kind of charges are created on the plastic? See, very simple. The plastic acquires the negative charge, whereas the fur acquires the positive charge. Instead of fur, you can consider the hair also, dry hair. How the plastic acquired the negative charge and how the fur acquires the positive charge. Very simple. When we carry the friction, when we rub the plastic with the surface of the fur, then the electrons which are present on the outer surface of the fur material, those electrons are transferred to the surface of plastic. Very simple. I repeat once again. The electrons present on the surface of the fur material are transferred to the surface of the plastic, because here the electrons are large in quantity and they are loosely bonded. Because of the friction, this transferring of electrons takes place from fur to the plastic. Then ultimately the electrons will be acquired on the surface of the plastic. Okay, we know that electrons are negatively charged. Hence, that plastic becomes a negatively charged body because of large electrons on its surface. Whereas this fur has lost the electrons. It has lost the electrons, isn't it? So it becomes more positive. Hence, in the place of the the empty space of the electrons, we can consider the positive charges, and hence large positive charges are considered on the fur. But observe one thing here, that the number of positive charges and number of negative charges created on these two objects will be equal. Remember, number of positive charges and number of negative charges. Suppose here 2 coulomb of charges move from fur to glass rod, then the glass rod will be, fur to the plastic rod, then the plastic rod will be having -2 coulomb of charges, whereas the fur will be having +2 coulomb of charges. Okay, so there will be equal amount or quantity of charge on the both surface. In this way, we can consider different materials and carry the friction process to make those bodies or materials to acquire the charges. And remember one more point, that the charges which will be present in the body, those charges will be superficial. Those charges will be present on its surface, on the surface of the body. The charges will not be present inside the body. I hope this point is clear. So therefore, let us have a quick revision. In the electrification by friction method, one object is rubbed in contact with the another object. The object which loses the electrons becomes positively charged, and the object or the body which acquires the electrons becomes negatively charged. And there will be equal quantity of charge on both the surfaces, but one will be positive and another will be negative. Hope the point is clear. Now, let us understand the second method, that is charging by the method of induction. So how this charging by the method of induction can be achieved? See, again it is very simple. Charging by the method of induction is very simple. Let us understand it. Let us consider this diagram. In this diagram, we see that there is one metal sphere. And it is connected to one insulated stand. Right? Then already charged ebonite rod is considered. Okay. So assume that, or consider that ebonite rod is having the negative charges on it. When such ebonite rod, which is already charged, is brought closer to the metal sphere which is initially uncharged. Initially the metal sphere will not be having any charges on it. So in such case, when the ebonite rod is brought closer to this metal sphere, then because of the basic property of the charges, that is, the unlike charges attract each other. We know that unlike charges attract each other. So based on this property, the negative charges or like charges repel each other. So based on this property, the negative charges which will be present nearer to the ebonite rod, they will be repelled by the negative charge present on the ebonite. Hence those negative charges, they move away from that region. They move away from the region. Okay, and they go to the farthest end. Whereas that place will be acquired by the positive charges. Hence, positive charges will be accumulated on the nearest end of the ebonite rod in the sphere, and the negative charges will move to the farthest end. Hope this is clear. And it all depends upon like charges attract each other and it all depends upon unlike charges attract each other and like charges repel each other. See, still that this sphere is not charged because it is having both positive and negative charges. When we remove this ebonite rod away from the sphere, then again these two positive and negative charges, they combine together and the neutralization will be carried. And again it becomes a normal sphere, not the charged sphere. Hence, to make the sphere to acquire the charges, other end of the sphere, the end which is having more negative charges, that end is connected to the earth. That is called as the grounding. Okay, it is connected with the help of one wire and grounding is done. As soon as grounding is done, all the negative charges will go to the earth. That is, flow of charges takes place. And only the positive charges which are having the force of attraction with the negative charges present in the rod, so they will remain in their place. Now, once all the negative charges are removed, then just remove this grounding or earth. When the grounding or earth connection is removed, then and also when the ebonite rod is removed away, then only we find the positive charges present on the surface of the sphere. Like this, the sphere is positively charged. I hope you understood this. See, observe one thing here, that is, if the charged object, already charged object, that is ebonite rod in this case, if it is having the negative charges, then the sphere will acquire the positive charges. Right? If that already charged object is having the positive charges in it, then definitely the negative charges can be made to acquire in the sphere. Like this, opposite charges will be created or made to induce. See, I am repeating, opposite charges will be made to induce by this method of charging by induction. Dear students, in the same way, we can understand the charging of two spheres by the method of induction. In the previous case, we charged one sphere by the method of induction, whereas we can charge two spheres by the method of induction only. In the examination, they may ask you to draw the neat labeled diagram of any one method, and they may ask you to explain also. So you must be in a position to explain the methods. So what happens in case of two spheres? How this charging can be achieved? See, very simple. Just look at the diagram, the figure on the screen. Here we have two spheres, metal spheres, A and B. Okay, and they are connected to insulating stand. They are connected to insulating stand here, isn't it? Now, these A and B spheres are initially uncharged. They are not having any charges in them. When one charged body, say a body which is having positive charges in it, already which is having the positive charges, is brought closer to the sphere A, then as you know, the unlike charges attract each other. All the negative charges which are present in sphere A or sphere B, which are free and whose magnitude is equal to the magnitude of the charge which is there already in the charged body. So those many electrons will move towards the closer or nearer end, right? And because of the repulsion, the positive charges will accumulate on the farthest end. then one sphere will be having the negative charges in it and another sphere will be having positive charges. Now by holding the already charged rod in its place, just to separate the two spheres. Okay, just to separate the two spheres. Then as the two spheres are separated, see, as the sphere B detaches from A, then only positive charges will be left in sphere B. And also remove this already charged body, just to take it away. When you take this already charged body away, then the sphere A will be having the negative charges in it. Like this, see, one sphere can be made to acquire the negative charges and another sphere is made to acquire the positive charges. Hope you understood the method. It is very simple. Here the earthing is not required. As the earthing is done in the previous case, in this case the earthing is not required. Simply that already charged body, what we brought to closer to the sphere A, that has to be removed away. Okay, so it is the simplest method. And this method, by this method, both charges are made to acquire both spheres are made to acquire the charges, but remember, one sphere acquires the positive charge and the other sphere acquires the negative charge. Dear students, now let us understand the charging of a body by the method of conduction. See, what do you mean by conduction? Conduction is nothing but flow of charges. Whenever the charges move from one place to another place or one point to another point, then we say that it is the conduction of charges. Or in a simple way, we can make the charges to acquire. We can make the body to acquire the charges. Here also we require one uncharged body, okay, and another charged body. Assume that the charged body is already having plenty of negative charges on it, okay, whereas this body B, it is uncharged. Now the body A has to be made in contact with body B. Okay, the body A has to be touched with the body B. And remember, both should be conductors. B is also, it should be somewhat metallic sphere, and A should be having the good number of charges on it. Now, these negative charges which are present on the surface of A, they flow to the sphere. They actually move, because we know that charges always try to search for the lower density region, and the charges flow from the region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration or lower density of charge, right? Hence, as the charges move from the body A to B, and when we remove those two bodies separately, or when we separate them, then both the bodies will be having the negative charges on them. Both will be with negative charge. So observe this method. Here the same type of charge will be accumulated on the second body, and here the type of charge on the second body will be same as that of the charge on the first body. So this method is called as charging by the method of conduction. Hope you got this and don't have any doubts regarding this. Okay, dear students, let us have a small revision of what we have learned in this concept, right? In charging by the induction method, an uncharged body is made to acquire the charges just by bringing a charged body nearer to it. And by this method, we can charge either one object, or simultaneously we can charge two objects with different charges. Okay. Now, after this, we are moving towards another concept, that is, what are the basic properties of the electric charge? Yes, we know only one property of the electric charges, that is, like charges attract each other and unlike charges repel each other. Okay, apart from this basic property, there are some other properties also. Now let us understand those properties one by one. The first property what we have to understand is additive nature of the charges, or charges are additive in nature. What do you mean by the charges are additive in nature? The concept is very simple. Assume that there is one surface, and on this surface we have plenty of charges. Plenty of charges. Say one charge, magnitude of one charge is say Q1, magnitude of another charge is Q2, Q3, Q4, like that, say up to Qn. We have Qn, n number of charges present on the surface. Now each charge will be having its own small quantity of magnitude. But can we make the total charge which is present on this whole body? Can we understand, or can we get the information about the total charge present on the whole body? Yes, it can be achieved. How to get that information? It is very simple. Just we have to add the magnitude of all the charges which are present on the surface of that body or that object. So therefore, if we consider the sum of magnitude of all the charges present on that body, then that will give us the total charge present on the body. Hence, this property is called as additive nature of the charges. From this, we come to know that the total charge of a system can be obtained by simply adding algebraically all the charges which are present in the system. Okay, remember this. And let us understand what is the second property. The second property is related to the conservative nature of the charges, or we say that charges are conserved. So what do you mean by the meaning? What do you understand from this? Where you have heard that word conserved? See, conservation is nothing but it's a kind of it gives the meaning of protection. Okay, it gives the meaning of protection. It means charges present in a system are protected. The meaning of this is charges present in a system are protected. What kind of system? The charges present in the isolated system. Okay, charges present in the isolated system. So it is very important to know what is the meaning of isolated system. See, isolated system is nothing but a body which is having the charges, but it is not making the contact with any other system or any other body. Okay, that is called as isolated. I think you know the meaning of isolated. Okay, if one body is there, one object is there, and if that object is not at all making any contact with any other objects, then that body or that object is called as the isolated body. Okay, if this isolated body is having the charges on it, assume that it is having the positive charges on it, then that body is a charged isolated body, or it is considered as a charged isolated system. Okay, it should not make any contact with any other surrounding objects or surrounding bodies. Remember. Now, if we consider such isolated system, then all the charges which are present on that, they are conserved. Okay, remember that the charges present on the body are conserved. What do you mean by this conserved? It means from the isolated system, from the isolated body, you cannot remove the charges, or you cannot delete the charges, or you cannot add more charges. So you cannot add or remove the charges. Remember. So that kind of nature will be present. That kind of property will be present with the charges. That's why we give one simple sentence, that is, charges from an isolated system neither be created nor be destroyed. Charges from an isolated system neither be destroyed or nor be created. Okay, so this is called as the conservative nature or law of conservation of charges. Suppose in the examination they ask you to write the law of conservation of charges, then you have to write this statement only. Very simple. I repeat it once again. Charges from any isolated system or any isolated body neither be destroyed nor be created. We cannot increase the charges or we cannot decrease the charges. Is it clear? So that's why it is called as the charges are protected in an isolated system. Hope you got the meaning of this. Now let us understand, what do you mean by quantization of electric charges? Quantization of electrical charges. That is the third nature what we know. Third property what we know. See, quantization is, the meaning of quantization is taking together. Again it gives the same meaning. For this we have to consider the fundamental charged particle. What is the fundamental charged particle? We know that fundamental charged particle is, or fundamental charge is, either the electron or the proton. So usually we consider the representation of the fundamental charge as plus E or minus E. Both for electron as well as the proton, we represent it as plus E or minus E. Plus E for proton and minus E for electron. Isn't it? So when we have large amount of charges, assume that we have large amount of charges, and these charges are of what same magnitude. Say assume that a surface is having large quantity of, say, negative charges or electrons. Okay, then charge of each electron will be minus E. Each electron will be minus E. Remember. Now assume that there are n number of charges on it. N number of charges. Then what will be the total charge of this system or total charge of the body? So that total charge of the body is nothing but the sum of individual charges, as we have studied in the additive property of the charges, isn't it? But instead of doing like that, if you multiply the number of charges with the magnitude of each charge, then that will give you the total charge or net charge present in the system, isn't it? It is the simple the knowledge what we have. It is the simple idea what we have. Whenever we are adding the same quantity in large number of times, then instead of adding, we multiply it. Hence, the total charge present on this system, it can be written as minus n into E. If positive charges are present, assume that same type of positive charges are present, plus E. Positive charges are present in an isolated system or in a system, then the total charge can be given as Q is equal to plus N into E. Or altogether we can write, according to the quantization of the charges, we can write Q is equal to plus or minus N into E. Okay, so based on this you may get an objective type of question or 1 marks question in your theory examination or in your CET NEET examination. Yes, I hope you got the idea regarding what do you mean by quantization of the electric charge. So remember these 3 additional properties of the electric charge along with the basic basic property or basic characteristics. Right. So I hope the 3 things are very clear to you. If they are clear, then I'm going to consider the next property, the next concept, that is a study of comparison. Let us consider the last concept of today's class, that is study of comparison. The comparison between, right, the comparison between the charge and mass. So how can we compare the charge and the mass? So this can be asked under under a 2 marks question or 3 marks question, where they may ask you to write the differences between charges and mass. Okay, now let us understand the differences one by one. When we consider the charges, we find that the charges may be having the positive polarity or they may be having the negative polarity. Okay, both type of charges are there. We have the charges with positive polarity and also we have the charges with negative polarity. Whereas if you consider the mass, then mass is always positive. You cannot express the mass in terms of say minus 3 kg or say minus 500 gram. No, not like that. But the charges can be expressed. We can say it is the minus 3 coulomb or we can say plus 2 coulomb. Yes, the charges will be having the polarity, but the mass will not be having the polarity. Mass is always positive. So we have to express the mass as plus 3 kg or plus 500 gram only. Even if we say just 500 gram, it is understood that it is plus 500 gram. Okay. Now, second difference what we find between the charge and the mass is charge don't have any dependency on the velocity of the object. Assume that one charged body is there it is having the positive charges in it, and this body is moving with some velocity, say v. Now the velocity of this object, it will not affect the quantity of the charge which is present on the surface. Okay, remember, I repeat once again, the velocity of the object will not affect the quantity of the charge present on the body. Hence, remember, the velocity of the body is independent of the charge, or charge do not depend on the velocity, right? Whereas if you consider the mass, yes, definitely mass depends upon the velocity. Okay, velocity and mass of the body, they have got the dependency, they are inversely proportional. They are inversely proportional. Okay, as the velocity increases, as the speed increases, the mass decreases. Remember this point, as the velocity increases, the mass dependence, they have got the dependency here. Or if the mass increases, the velocity decreases, as you know. Correct. As you know, as the mass increases, the velocity decreases. Then let us understand the third difference which is present between charge and mass. So, charge of an isolated system is always conserved, but mass is not conserved. Okay, if you consider one body, its mass is not conserved, because we can very easily we can decrease the mass, or we can increase the mass, or mass will be either increasing or decreasing depending upon certain conditions or certain situations. Here only in the above case we came to know that mass changes as the velocity changes. So therefore, if a body is made to move with certain velocity, then definitely its mass changes. Hence it is not conserved. Okay? Yes. Now let us understand the fourth and very interesting and important information. That is, electrostatic force between the charges will be either attractive type of charges, attractive type of force, or repulsive type of force. Either it will be attractive type of force or repulsive type of force. When do you have the attractive type of force? Yes, if the unlike charges are present, unlike charges are brought closer to each other, then there will be having the attractive type of force. If the like charges are there, then they will be having the repulsive force. Already we have discussed about this. But what happens here in case of mass? See, mass is associated with one force, that is the gravitational force. See, charge is associated with the electrostatic force, whereas mass is associated with the gravitational force, according to the universal law of gravity given by the Newton. Right? So if any two objects are there which are separated by some distance and who have got some mass in them, say m1 and m2, then these two objects will be having a force of attraction between them. Remember, always there will be force of attraction between any two bodies with mass. Okay, and that force is always attractive in nature. It is always attractive in nature, and it is applicable to all the objects which are present in the universe, whether they are very small objects like the atoms or the larger objects like the planets. Hence it is called as universal law. And remember that force which is present between any such two objects or two bodies, it is the positive, or it is the attractive gravitational force. Okay, so like this we make the discussion of difference between the charge and the mass. Let us have a brief revision what we have studied today. See, in this class we studied the definition of electrification. What do you mean by the electrification? Then what are the different methods of electrification? They are friction, conduction and induction. Then in the first method, electrification by friction is studied, where the two objects will acquire different type of charges due to the transfer of electrons from one object to another object. Then in the second method we discussed about charging by induction. In this method we studied both the charging of single sphere and charging of two spheres. Okay, that is called as the charging by induction. And here we take the help of already charged body to generate or induce the charges in the uncharged body. And remember, the opposite type of charges will be induced in the uncharged body. If the already charged body is negative, then the positive charges will be induced, or if the already charged body is positive, then the negative charges will be induced. In the same way, we can charge two spheres simultaneously by the method of induction. Then we studied the charging by the method of conduction. In the method of conduction, again we are taking the help of the charged body to charge the uncharged body, but the charged body is made to contact with the uncharged body. Here actual physical contact is there. In the previous case there is no physical contact, whereas in this case there is actual physical contact. And because of this actual physical contact, charges flow from one body, that is from higher concentration to lower concentration, and the uncharged body acquires the same type of charges which are there in the already charged body. That is called as charging by the conduction method. Then after this we studied other properties of the electric charges. In the examination, again this concept can be asked under 2 or 3 marks. Okay, most of the time we have saw that a question is asked based upon this concept. So that is properties of the electric charge. So see, along with the properties what you have already studied, along with that you have to consider these 3 special properties, right? Then only you will get the full marks. Simply if you write the charges attract, the like charges repel each other, unlike charges attract each other, that is not sufficient. Okay, you have to write these properties also along with some equations what I have explained here. Then finally, after that we discussed about the differences between the charge and the mass, again which can be asked for 2 marks. Right? Hope you understood the concepts clearly, and in tomorrow's class again we are going to discuss few more concepts related to electrostatics.